What's really going on? Kris ONeill's shocking images are causing concern among friends and the public. The American has changed significantly in just 6 months now. It's finally here. Kris ONeill, 48, is enjoying all the perks of being married to a tax-funded princess. The American has access to luxuries and comforts that the poor can only dream of. When the financier is in Sweden, he lives comfortably next to Nybroplan in Stockholm in an apartment of over 400 square meters that has been luxuriously renovated for over 12 million kroner at taxpayers' expense, and that does not cost a penny in rent. The royal right of disposal, an agreement that is over 200 years old, means that the king and his family do not have to pay rent, as recently noted in SVT's exposé report Uppdrag granskning. Refused to be a prince. Kris ONeill has everything comfortable and in order thanks to Swedish taxpayers, but still it is not enough. The American is doing his best to avoid public events with the royal family. Director of Court Information Margareta Torgren, 59, who is reportedly about to be fired, usually refers to the fact that Kris ONeill is not royalty, but to the fact that he gave up the title of prince due to his wedding to Princess Madeleine, 40. Nevertheless, he can enjoy all the luxuries Swedish taxpayers pay for, and yet there is no expectation of an American when he so magnanimously gave up the princely title. Common decency seems an insufficient argument for a financier. The altered constitution of the body. In August, Princess Madeleine and her husband will move home to Sweden. After all, it seems members of the royal family felt that Kris ONeill should still show goodwill and attend a national holiday in his future home country. Expectations were high. For the first time in 5 years, an American had the pleasure of participating in the celebration in Skansen. However, Kris ONeill's presence at the celebration was not marked by the joy of reunification. Instead, the big topic of conversation after the National Day celebration was the altered constitution of the American's body. Dozens of viewers reacted to Kris ONeill's revelation and contacted Stop the Press. The newsroom phones were hot. He can barely sit down, there's a button sticking out. He's wearing a suit that's too tight, a viewer reacts. Why does he look so angry? His wife is so beautiful, Kris should be happy, says one woman. Isn't it time for him to practice a little? Asks one man. Increased weight. The American seems to have put on weight since we last saw him last Christmas, when he was pictured taking up the Christmas trees at Stockholm Palace. Stoppa Pressarna contacted the expert, who is one of the most famous nutrition consultants in Sweden. She was shown pictures of Kris ONeill when he last appeared on National Day 5 years ago. I estimate that Kris has put on at least 18 kilos in weight since then. He is at an age where he needs to think a bit more about his health and what he puts into himself. Good nutrition also needs to be combined with exercise. It doesn't have to be some heavy workout, but daily brisk walks of at least 30 minutes are important, says the nutritionist, who doesn't want to go into too much detail. Well, I don't want to talk about Kris specifically, but my advice should rather be seen as general. If I'm going to give advice to Kris, I want to make it more personal between him and me. Eating himself to death. Stoppa Press also contacted friends of Princess Madeleine and Kris ONeill. Some knew that the American's weight had increased dramatically over the past 6 months, but for others it came as a surprise. He's eating himself to death. What's wrong? He doesn't look healthy, says a man surrounded by Princess Madeleine and her husband. Let's hope the fall in Sweden will be healthy for Kris ONeill. Welcome to Stockholm.